everyone, welcome to my channel. Stitching is Elementary. This is not a floss tube because this is a quilty update. I'm finally getting to. I'm just noticing, ignore everything in my background. I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, my name is Kara Lee and today is Sunday, May 2nd. So anyway, I have a ton of quilt related projects to show, so I thought I'd do a separate video. I won't always do a separate video because I won't always have this much, but I have been just quilting and sewing a lot, and so it's way too much to show in my regular floss tube video. So anyway, let's get started, but first I'll just say ignore the background there. I want to sit here because of my sewing machine and I can back up to show the bigger quilts. But for my daughter's wedding, she's doing a for those of you who watch my floss tube, you know my daughter's getting married next summer, not this summer, next summer. But she's getting married at a local museum in the city, and we're doing like a bird theme. So for the tables, I ordered a bunch of bird cages from Michaels that are about 17 inches high, that the florist is going to put all kinds of florals in and stuff. But I want to get them just so they wouldn't go away. So we needed like 17 of them, and they're like 17 inches tall. So I have all these giant boxes of bird cages. I've found something to do with for the next year. So anyway, I still have to take them to the basement. They're sitting there. Okay, well, let's get started with quilting because I have time to show you. So I'm going to kind of go through like I do with my floss tube videos. I'll show you my finishes, my almost finishes. Some of the finishes will be totally finished quilts. Some still need the binding, and some are just finished quilt tops. And I'm kind of showing you just everything in this season for finishes and whips. I have some other stuff that's more fallish that I'll show come closer to that time. So anyway, let's get started. So one of the first ones I found, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to find that book. It's from an old book. It's this cute little flag quilt that I had stored away with my finished quilts. I keep them upstairs in a closet. And Jeanette and Heather on Crafty Cottage Stitches are doing I can't remember the hashtag now. I'll find it. It's like Stars and Stripes, I think. Sal. Anyway, or hashtag Stars and Stripes, something like that. But anyhow, it made me think of this because they made a Lori Holt block, which I will someday make, that is a flag. But, so I went and found this. So, it's a little mini quilt, and it's actually from the book. I'm just stopped because I'm thinking I have another flag quilt I forgot to get out to show. I may have to pause and go get that. But it's from the book Little Quilts. It's Little Quilts All Through the House. And I don't know, a lot of you quilters might have this from long ago. It is by Alice Berg, Mary Ellen Von Holt, and Sylvia Johnson. And I believe Alice Berg and Mary Ellen Von Holt, if I'm not wrong, and maybe the other lady, I'm not sure about her, ran a Little Quilts quilt shop here in Marietta, and I pass it all the time where it used to be, the old building, and I wish it was still there. But yeah, so I got this when I lived up in Pennsylvania long ago. I made the quilt long ago. I'm sure you can only get this if you find it on eBay or somewhere, and it's probably pretty expensive. But when I was getting ready to do this video, I went to find the pattern in the book. And there's another one. So now I think I want to make this one too. So here's the one I made, but there's also one with a little house. So that'd be cute having them hanging together. So I think that's now on my to-do list to make that. So anyway, it's just a whole book of little quilts. That's all. So that's my flag. And I think my other flag quilt is upstairs in my closet. You know what? Let me pause. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get it. Okay, I'm back. And I found more that were up there that I forgot about. That's always really exciting. So I'm going to get, well, maybe I'll do all the patriotic ones now. Let me see. What else do I have? Yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll go back to the other ones. Okay, sorry about that. I'm just switching my arrangement around now. I have such a pile of stuff right here that you can't see. Okay, so let's go to the next little one. So this one actually came from a pattern I got in the Fat Quarter shop. So sampler box last year, and if you're interested, I can give you the name of the pattern. I don't know if you can buy it separately or not, but anyway, I made it from Minnick and Simpson, and it was for a smaller table runner. but I wanted, my table's a little wider and I wanted to cover most of it. So I made a wider one, and it's all these little hexagons you cut from a charm pack. So yeah. And this one I actually quilted on my machine, far back I can get. I'll show you. There's the bottom. So I quilted it on my machine. I did like little stars. I didn't do the best job, but I did okay. I'm not very good at machine quilting. I've wanted to be, I've tried, I've practiced. I'm just not. But anyway, that's, I have a white kitchen table, and that looks really pretty on it. And then the next one is, I think it's a Thimble Blossoms pattern. And it's a flag quilt, and it's made out of mostly Thimble Blossoms fabrics, but I mixed in some others for my stash as well. There it is. Here, I'll hold it up in front of me so you can see. Here's the bottom part. Yeah, I did mix in a lot of blues for the flags from my stash. I see there's a lot of different ones. There's the bottom. Yeah, so that just hangs right here on my quilt ladder. Now, since it's May, I'm getting ready to put up all my patriotic stuff, take down my Easter. So the next one is actually a really old quilt. I made when we still lived in Pennsylvania. So when I first started teaching, when I first got married in 1990, and I started teaching, and then I got pregnant with my first daughter. So we lived there until my first daughter was 9, until Greta was 9, and then we moved to Florida to live by my family, and then we ended up moving up here. But I stayed at home then when the kids were little, which was really nice, quite a blessing. But so I quilted a lot then. I had started to learn to quilt when my son, who's now 26, was 1. I had taken my first quilting class. I think I showed my first quilt in my last quilty video, like the first one I did, but I'll have to check it and see. I'll have to show that. It's on the wall over here. But anyway, so I stayed home, so I got to quilt a lot. And it was this I made during watching a lot of news coverage during the war in Kosovo, if I'm getting the country's name right. It was a long time ago. Anyway, so there was just a lot of news coverage on that, and I was working on this patriotic quilt. So this is Stars and Pinwheel blocks. I think it was a pattern, but I don't even remember. This, I think, was, the border was a Debbie Mum fabric, and you'll see we had an accident with this quilt. I'm trying to see where it is. Well, let me hold it up for you. I love this one though. I love all the colors. It's really pretty. Oh, so there it is. It's not huge. That's the sideways, and here's the lengthways. Length. Like that. So anyway, I had, you can see right here. This was in the back of my car, and I don't remember why it was in the back of my car when we moved to Florida with my daughter's alphabet quilt, my youngest daughter Ellie's alphabet quilt that I had made her. And we had gone to get pool chemicals, and some of the pool chemicals spilled on the quilts, and I still cannot believe I would have had them back there with it. But you know, I had little kids and we were rushing all over the place, so the bleach basically, or the chemicals, just ate away at it. It totally ruined her alphabet quilt. This, it just got right here, so I fold it and put it on the ladder, and you can't see that part, but yeah, but I love this quilt. And it's so funny, that alphabet quilt, I actually just pulled it out this morning because she wants me, she's been bugging me for years to remake it for her, even though it was a little girl quilt. I mean, it was little girl colors, had little rainbows on it. But she, since that day, misses that quilt. I feel so bad. So I pulled out, I actually still have a huge amount of the fabric I had used for the backing at that time, the rainbows that she loved. So I pulled it out, and I still have the book, so I'm going to remake it for her. So that'll be up on a quilty video someday, you'll see. But I think it's funny, she's older and she still wants it. she especially, of all my kids, they all love my quilts and all like to have them, but she, I think, more than even the rest of them, really loves them. And it's probably because I've been doing it since she was born, you know. She's seen me quilting. So anyway, that's another patriotic one. And then this one I made last year, and I still don't have the binding on. I'm really bad about binding if I have to hand bind it. This is what I'm going to use for the binding. It's just a little dot on white. And this is, I think, a Fat Quarter Shop pattern called Firecrackers, and it's a PDF. And I totally changed the colors. I used a jelly roll and then some fabrics from my stash, and I did it with yellow. I just felt like doing it. I think I saw a quilt with solid yellow background, and so that's what I did. So it's just all like fun, summery, patriotic jelly roll, 2.5-inch strips, jelly roll strips, and then a light yellow background. I can't really show the whole thing because this one's pretty big, but as you can see, no binding. But when you fold it and put it on the quilt ladder back there, you can't tell it has no binding, so that's okay. So there was a special triangle ruler I got to do this one that the Fat Quarter Shop sells. So I will put the name in the description box below with the links. And the back is just a wavy stars. And I long arm quilted this at my quilt shop Tiny Stitches last year. I did that flag one too. Actually, no, that flag one I long arm, or I quilted on my sewing machine. So this, I did like waves. They're not as even as I'd like because I kind of messed up, but it looks good. Okay, so that's all my patriotic quilts. Oh, that one's heavy. Sorry, I'm dropping stuff. Okay, so now I have a fully finished quilt. It is bound and everything. This is my best friend's quilt along quilt. I made it with Brenda Riddle Dover fabric, and I got it back a couple weeks ago from the Long Arm Quilter, a new one I found in my area. So let me stand up again, sorry. Here it is. It's very soft, very different than the quilt that was done with the Lori Holt fabrics. I wanted it for in my dining or my family room above my piano, kind of winter into spring. So yeah. And then the back is just this real soft floral. So I really like the quilting. I think she did a very good job. I was happy to find a quilter who had time. My friend Cheryl quilts, but she is swamped, so I've never gotten in with her. So yeah, so I like how it came out. So that'll go on my wall next year. Okay, and then this one I think I showed, so I won't show too long. I think I showed it in my last quilty update, but this was a laundry basket quilts. Quilt she did for the pandemic when it first started last March, and she did it as a, on YouTube she did videos, and I think it was every 2 weeks there was another pattern. It was like a mystery quilt, and then it ended up making this quilt. So check out one of my other last floss tubes where I showed, it would have been a few floss tubes ago where I showed this. I think I showed the whole thing. But I am working on sewing on the binding very slowly. These fabrics were from Craftsy when they were selling fabrics. I don't think they are now. I'm not totally sure, but it was a line from Craftsy. So yeah, that one I'm gonna get back to the binding. Okay, the next one I made maybe a couple springs ago. I don't think it was last spring, but I quilted it also last spring at Tiny Stitches on the Long Arm Quilter. This is going to be my binding. So this is the quilt. This was a kit from Shabby Fabrics. I forget the name of the fabric because it was a while ago, but I love all the purples and greens. So it's a log cabin. Yeah, it's a regular log cabin. Look, I still have some threads I need to trim off. Okay, so let me stand up and show you this one. So pretty. I've got to get the binding on this. I think I might just machine sew the binding on. So hopefully you can see it well. Pull it up a little closer. So this was a kit I got from them. So the pattern and everything came in it. And I think she even had a video showing, you know, how to do certain things on it. And then the backing is this big floral, these little violets, I guess is what you call them, on it. So yeah, I really like that one. And that I put on my ladder in the spring. Now the next one, actually, I think I'm going to save the oldest one for last. I have one that's like 20 years old that's just a quilt top. But the next ones are quilt tops that I need to, now that I have a quilter, just have them quilt. I'll go in order of age. How about that? So this one I made kind of recently. I was going to make it for my bed, but I never finished. It was actually a quick little video from, oh, she's on YouTube. I'll have to remember her name. She's a homeschooler. I think it's Confessions of a Homeschooler. But she does a lot of quilty and craft videos now, sewing videos. And she had done this star tutorial on how to make this giant star block. So I made 3 of them, and I think that her quilt was 3 by 3 also. So this is 3 of these giant star blocks. They're like 24 inches or something. And I made it out of a Brenda Riddle layer cake. And I've never finished it because I wanted to do some kind of a cool border around it, but I just haven't been able to decide what. And I didn't know who would quilt it, so I've just kind of held off on it. But yeah, if you like that, that is a tutorial by Confessions of a Homeschooler. I forget her first name, but I will link it below. That's just a quilt top. Okay, and then the next one was Designer Mystery from the Fat Quarter Shop. That was from years ago. I can't even remember which year, but it was when Fig Tree had out the line Strawberry Fields Revisited, and it was all out of Strawberry Fields fabric, and I love this one. Oh, I love this one so much. I need to get it quilted. So I'll just kind of show the rows. Look at that triangle, the half square triangle border. I loved it. I love the colors. There's the second and third row. So Designer Mystery, they have a new one coming out with Strawberry and Rhubarb from Fig Tree, which I'm tempted to do, but you'll see here, I have so many blocks of the month going on, I think I'm going to pass on it, but theirs are really pretty. I love especially when they do Fig Tree fabrics. Show you that. Let me just show you the house up close. It's so pretty. And this one was fiddly. These blocks, some of them were kind of difficult to do. So it's basically the same blocks just repeating themselves. Yeah. So that was Strawberry Fields Revisited. And like I said, it was years ago. But if you love Fig Tree, Fat Quarter Shop has a new Designer Mystery coming out. And so you get the blocks and the fabric every month. And then you can buy a finishing kit to do the borders. And like all of this and the borders, I believe, are in the finishing kit. If you just get the blocks, sorry, let me sit down. If you just get the blocks, you're just going to get the fabric for the blocks and the blocks. You're not going to get, I don't think, even the sashing. I think the finishing kit has all the sashing and the border fabric and patterns. And then I believe you can also get a backing set, which I did not get for this one. So that one was a few years ago. I still lived in Florida at that time. It's all gonna fall over here. I'm probably knock my camera over. Hold on. I'm gonna throw it on the floor there. There we go. Okay. All right. And then this one I made when I still lived in Pennsylvania. I started it, and it's embroidery. And I always want to do embroidery. I have so many patterns, especially from Crabapple Hill Studio. Which someday I'm going to get to. I keep saying I'm going to. Or Kathy Schmidt. I have a ton of her embroidery patterns. My mother likes to embroider. She doesn't quilt, but she embroiders, and she's so fast at it. And embroidery is definitely faster than cross stitch. But this was a pattern, and I should have looked for it. I can link it below. I know I still have it. I just found this upstairs, so I didn't think about it. With flowers. And so all the flowers, all the blocks are embroidered in hearts, and they're different flowers. So let me show it here. Hold on. Okay, well, I'll show them standing up first, and you can see the whole thing, and then I'll show it close. So it's like a wall size hanging. You can kind of see. And I did it in a blue and white, which you know I love. And so all the blocks are some type of flower. And then this border going around has the names of all the flowers embroidered. Let me see if I can show you up close. So you can see the names. Flowers. Yeah, so I finished that quite a while ago. Once again, with the embroidery, I'm just not really sure how to quilt it. I should probably hand quilt it, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I have to decide. I don't know. If any of you have ever quilted an embroidered quilt, let me know. Do you just quilt over top of the embroidery? Or do you quilt around it, like Echo? I think that would be pretty. It makes me nervous to think of quilting over top because, I don't know, it just makes me nervous. So let me know if you've ever had that done and how it turned out. Okay, and then my last finished quilt top is I made a long time ago. It's a log cabin quilt, and I love it. I made it when we lived in Pennsylvania. It is just a mixture of all different fabrics. I know there's some Debbie Mum in here. It's got to be 20 or more years old. Once again, it's a log cabin, and I was trying to make this big enough for my queen bed, which I had at the time. So the log cabin is all blues here, and then gold in all the centers, and then whites that have pinks and blues in them. That's what the block looks like. So we'll try to show. I won't be able to show it all, I don't think, but and then so let me show the borders, because the borders, I did a star in the borders. Like that. So that's all the borders. I'll just hold that up. Maybe I can show each side. And then there's kind of down the middle. There's some more stars. And then here's on the other side. So yeah, I always thought I kind of would like some feathers, quilted with feathers. So I'll have to see if one of my quilters can do that. I don't think I have enough skill to do feathers, and I want them to be really good. So yeah, so that is all my kind of everyday and springish quilts. Ooh, that's exhausting. Okay, so that is all my finished quilt tops and finished quilts. Now I'm going to get into whips, which there's so many. This is probably a quarter of my whips, but this is just kind of like the season that we're in. What time are we at? Okay, we're good. So the first one is, oh no, this is plans. Okay, just let me go back here. What do I do with those books? I think I will show you first. So yesterday I recorded a floss tube video, and actually it's just uploading now because my husband didn't get to editing until late last night. And I had shown a project bag that I made in that. Okay, my books. I have a bunch of books to show you that go with the different patterns. Hold on. I also have a quilt here I'm sewing, which I wanted to kind of show you about, so I have that out. Anyway. So I had shown this project bag I had made, And I had watched the YouTube video by Bumble Stitches, and she showed how to do the patchwork on fusible interfacing. But it reminded me of a couple quilt books by 10 Sisters Quilts. They sell big pieces of stabilizer with squares already on it, and you glue your 2.5-inch squares or 1.5-inch squares into this gridded stabilizer, and you make it just like you made that. So you glue them all in there, and then you fold it and sew a 1/4 inch and do all the vertical seams and then do all the horizontal seams. So I couldn't remember the name yesterday, but I was right. It is 10 Sisters, but I just wanted to show you. These are some of the books. So the woman's name is Carmen Geddes, and she does have some YouTube videos. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah. So like here's the quilt, but this is going to be pieced on a stabilizer foundation. So you don't have to sew all those strips of squares. You glue them all on and you fold and sew the stabilizer, just like I did for that bag. And then there's a kids one, 10 Sisters Presents Quilt for Kids. I don't hear about them many places, but it is a good idea. Now their foundation, you can purchase like grids from them to do this with, and they are fairly pricey, so that's probably why it hasn't totally taken off. But they're cute, and it is a really easy way to do patchwork. So here's just some of the quilts in here. Look at that owl. So cute. Some more boyish looking ones. I think there's a whale. Oh yeah, here's the back. There's a whale and a fox and a hedgehog. And they're all sewn on those foundations. Now, I mean, I guess you could, sew this traditional way as well. You just have to look at the pictures and do it, because they give directions for using their foundation. I don't know what they call it. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, they call it Easy Piecing Grids. So yeah, so on their website, which is 10sisters.com, you can buy their Easy Piecing Grids and their books. So if you like that way of, if you've made a project bag like that and you like that way, there's lots of quilts that use those Easy Piecing Grids. Okay, so that was one thing. Okay, so now I'm going to show you blocks of the month and other whips. So the first one, I was super trying to have restraint and not do Lori Holt's red and white blocks of the month for a red and white quilt from all her quilt books, but I couldn't pass it up. So I started. I'm not caught up, but I'm still ordering her red and white fabrics too, even though I'm like, no, I'm just going to do it from Stash, which I did do my first ones from Stash, but then I was seeing all her fabrics and I loved them. So here are my first, this was the first month she showed. So here's she's doing them in 12-inch and 6-inch, and she has it all on her blog, Be In My Bonnet, blogspot.com, something like that. So there's the first one. And then she did 2 6-inches. So here are my 2 6-inch blocks. And this is fabric from my stash. It's not Lori Holt fabric. Well, these two aren't. This one's not either. This is some little floral. Yeah, none of this big one isn't either. Oh, well, this I think is Flea Market Flowers. So this is a fig tree from their Christmas line, and this is a Thimble Blossoms, that teeny little pink and red scallop. Get close, you can see. So yeah, so I started that. Then I thought, well, I love blue and white. That's why initially I was like, red and white, but it's starting to grow on me. But so I also thought I might make them in blue and white, but I've only made this one in blue and white. So we'll see if that happens. If not, I'll make it into a pillow. But I would love a blue and white and a red and white one. So I'm not sure if I love those placement of those fabrics, but that's what we did. So then I have this whole bin of like red and white scraps, and I had just ordered these red and white fabrics from Lori Holt, which I love so much. Her shades are so pretty. So I got that one, and then I got some bee backgrounds to make some of the other red and white blocks. So I still have to starch those. It's my plan today after this to starch. But these are just all my scraps, which I'm working on getting my scraps cut up into squares and strips and kind of storing them like she does. But right now they're just in these bins, but I keep just smushing them in here, and then when I want to use them, I don't really want to use them because I have to pull them out, find the right size, iron it, trim it down. So it's more work. So I think if eventually I can get them all into the scrappy baskets like she does, like Lori Holt does, I'll use them more. So she does come up with so many good ideas, and her patterns are so easy. When I pulled out her books to do these, they were just really, really easy, really straightforward. So if you're a beginning quilter, the Lori Holt books are great. And there's all different settings, and she does everything in 6 and 12-inch blocks, so you can mix and match. They're really nice. So that's one block of the month I started. Then, if you watch my floss tubes, you know I was doing Sew by Row. I'm still working on that cross stitch, but they came out with a quilt of the block of the month quilt program for that as well. So apparently this book has been out for a while, but she recolored the quilt, and this is the block of the month. It's with her Bee Basics, which I love her Bee Basics. So we got block 1, and I finished it. And it was so funny. I thought I was going to finish it in a couple hours. These scissors were not a joke. They were rough. They were hard. Well, I guess they weren't hard. They were just a good bit of work. So I'll show you. Because there's tons of little pieces in them. This piece you sew 4 corners to, and then this is a long piece you sew 2 corners to, and then this piece you sew corners to, and then this piece is straight and you sew it to that, but then you have all these with corners, and then so it's just a lot of sewing little corners on things. But they came together nice, and I had no problems. I am starching my fabric because it's from Fat Quarter Shop. In their kit, they give you enough to starch. And I do feel like my patchwork is better when I starch. So, and I don't starch with a spray because that spray, I feel like it's not good for the environment, and it's not good for my lungs, and it takes forever. My hand gets tired of holding it. So I use a liquid starch, and I think it works great. I just mix it with, on the back it tells you, I think it's Stayflow. On the back it tells you if you want very crisp, high starch, medium, or less starch, and you mix however much water you want with it to make it less stiff. And then I just soak them in there, and then wring them out and pull them out and hang them on my drying rack in my bathroom, because I have a giant bathtub that we don't ever use. So I put the drying rack in there and I hang them on like that, and it works really, really well. So anyway, so these are all starched. So I'll just go through and show you. So that was the red one. I actually made extra because I'm thinking in the pattern it's 2 red scissors in the top row. So you see there's 2 red, but I pulled one of her pinks, and I think I'm going to have a pink one in the top row. So I did make the red one, but I also made a pink one. And then there's this yellow one, and these are with all the fabrics from the block of the month that I got, except for the pink one. I pulled that from my stash. Orange, I love that plaid fabric. It's aqua. The other red one. Green. Little scissors on the scissors. And then this is the pink one I made. So I think I'm going to make the second red one into just a little pillow for in here. And I'm going to use the pink in the quilt. Just because I love pink. And so yeah, we had gotten a whole kit. This is kind of what's left of my fabrics from the kit. This is the background for the whole quilt that we're getting. I think it's going to stay the same. I'm not really sure. But then the first month we also got all these buttons and floss to finish it off at the end. Oh, so pretty. So I think our second block is coming soon, which I'm fine because I have plenty to keep me busy. So yeah, so there's another one. And then this is another one I tried to avoid. I always belong to Fig Tree's sampler quilts. And I have some of the blocks piece, but I've never finished one yet. I have so many blocks of the month in there to finish. But the quilts are beautiful. So I was not going to do it this year. And then I saw it was strawberries. It was a strawberry sampler quilt. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't sign up for it. So I emailed her and I was like, if you have any spots left, can you let me know? And she emailed me back a little while ago. She's like, we have a spot. And so I signed up for it. Ooh, our power just went off. That's weird. I'm going to keep going though. So it's just a little darker, sorry. Hopefully it comes back on. It's like a beautiful day. I don't know why our power went off. Weird. So anyway, so I'm trying to keep up with this one because I never, there we go. Oh, and my sewing machine clicked on. Turn that off. Okay. Weird. The other ones I have not kept up with, so I'm determined to finish this one. Like, every month, get it, make it. So this is the first month, and in the first month there are 2 different sets of blocks. There's a, what do they call it? I think a crown block they call it. So these are like the directions she gives you, a whole packet. Let's see. I don't know where the directions for this one are. Okay, here it is. So these are the 2 that I have done. And I think this one is going to be in the strawberry and rhubarb line, but it hasn't come to them yet because, you know, everything's delayed. So they've been sending it with other fig tree fabrics. So if I was tempted just to wait and maybe replace some of them with the strawberry and rhubarb, but I did like the ones it came with, so I did it. So I'm going to kind of play it by ear as they each come. I might wait and replace it with, because I haven't seen the strawberry and rhubarb in person. So I might want it all that. So anyway, I don't know. But I did do these 2. And I did change the middles. The middle, this was supposed to just be all green across. And I kind of really wanted another fabric in the middle. So this is a little yellow print from Catalina. And I think this floral's familiar. I don't know if it's from Figs and Shirting. It might be. So there's that one. And then there's a green version. So yeah, so that's my first month of the strawberry. Let's see, what do they call it? Strawberry Garden Mystery Quilt. I passed that up.
I can't connect to your Wi-Fi network.
Sorry.
You can find setup instructions in the help section of your Alexa app.
We have Alexas in every room. Sorry, they're going off. When the power goes off, you know, they do, and then they come back on. Okay, so that's the first block of the first month. I still need to make the second block, which is a basket block, a berry basket. But these blocks are not super beginner, so I always have to kind of go slow and be careful. But that's the basket block. So that's what will be next. So I just have all my fabric from, you know, month 1 in here. Month 2 did come now. So here's the fabric for month 2. So we'll have to see. I think I'll probably keep using it. I'm sure Joanna knows what she's doing. It's going to be beautiful. They always are. Okay, and then the next one is a free block of the month through A Quilting Life, Sherry McConnell's site. And so she does a free block of the month every year, and she does a 12-inch and a 6-inch. Well, at least this year it's a 12-inch and a 6-inch. And she has a video showing kind of how to make it. And she'll give you the free PDF on her site. And I think I'm behind. I need to go print out the April's PDF. But so their PDFs look like this. I'll just show you real quick. You know, it has all the detailed cutting instructions and pictures. So they're very good. So I have January, February, and March. So I'm going to mix up. I'm going to do some in 12-inch and some in 6-inch because I really like that look of not all the same size block for a sampler. So kind of like the Lori Holt ones are. So I have 2 12-inch and a 6-inch. That's January, February, and March. So I haven't done April's yet. Oh, actually, and I have, this is April. Okay, so I did print it out. So yeah, I need to do that one, which is actually the same block as Lori Holt did for her first red and white one. But here are the 2 12-inches I have done. Now I am doing these all out of my Tilda fabric collection. I've been collecting Tilda fabrics for the past couple years. And I want to have them in my bedroom because it's kind of the colors. My bedroom's kind of real soft and vintagey aquas and kind of mauves and stuff, blues, greens. So this will go really nicely. So this actually is the only one that's not a Tilda print. This is a Quilting Life, Sherry McConnell's print from Balboa, I think. I just needed a little neutral, and I didn't have a neutral in the Tilda. So there's one 12-inch. this block is what got me started because Kimberly showed it. She's doing it from Lori Holt Fabrics, and she had switched it up and it was so pretty. So these weren't in the pattern, but she had done that on hers with the Lori Holt Flea Market fabric, the blue flower, big rose, I think it is. And I really loved it. So I'm like, ooh, wait, I want to do that. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to do, you know, all my tilted fabrics and just keep working on it. And hopefully I'll have a quilt done for my room. So yeah, so that's the other 12-inch. And then this was, I think this was January's block, and I made it into just a little baby 6-inch. And those birds are not tilled up, but I liked them with her fabric, so I just put those in there. Get up close so you can see. Yeah, so 2 12-inch and a 6-inch. And I think I'm going to make the Aprils in a 6-inch also. And then I think I'll just go every other month. One will be 6-inch, one will be 12-inch. I don't know, I haven't decided on a setting because I don't even know how big I'm going to make it. We'll see. There's that one. Okay, and then the next block of the month I haven't put together yet, but, and I've never done, this is a laundry basket quilts block of the month, and I've never done one through them. I've ordered her kits at times, but never done a block of the month. But this one looked, dropping everything, looked really pretty. It is called Anna's Baskets, and it just started last month. I don't know if they have any more room in it, but, and so she'll do a video on how to make these. And you could get a kit that was traditional and then a kit where everything was already cut out and pre-fused. And I thought, okay, I can do applique if it's already cut out and pre-fused, because I can just fuse it down and stitch around it and I'm good. So this is the, I'll show you the cover. This is all the blocks for the first month. I think it's 6 or 8 months long. So it's all different baskets and she sprinkles in stars. It's so pretty. So the patterns are in there if you want to do it the traditional way, but I chose the pre-fused way. So I haven't started it. This is my little kit. Look at that lovely little bundle of fabrics. I did watch the video, but I just didn't get to it yet. So I need to do that before my second one comes. So that you'll see in more videos. I'm going to grab that pattern I dropped. Hold on. I'm probably making you sick with all my moving around today. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see where we are. So those are all my blocks of the month. I just can't resist a block of the month or a stitch along. I didn't say this in my floss tube video, but the Joy Filled Stitcher, I believe, on Instagram, and she has a floss tube. She put on Instagram that she wanted to do a stitch along for that Tom's Foolery. And she goes, and it was so funny because in parentheses she put, by stitch along, I mean start along. And I thought, well, that makes me feel better because I can start lots of things as long as I'm not expected to finish them anytime soon. Anyway, okay, so this next whip I started a while ago, and I thought I was going to get going and just make the whole quilt, and then all these blocks of the month came in, and anyway, I didn't get to it. But this is a quilt I've been wanting to make for a long, long time, and I have all the fabric starched and ready to go. I have a bunch of it cut out. I love this fabric line. So this fabric line is, do you remember Flower Garden? It's by the same person, and I can't remember her name right now. Do I have it here? Let me see. No. But she has a second line out that is very similar colors. It coordinates with Flower Garden, and it was all aquas and lime greens and navy blues and teals. Oh, I just love it. So this is with her second collection, and I'm making, I think it was, I can't remember, another quilter that I follow on Instagram started this as a sew along using this pattern, Feed Sacks True Blue by Lindsay Cole McCrae, and it just looks like that. And I think this is a free pattern on Moda's site. Oh, I know it is. And you just do shoe fly blocks, I think is what those are called, right? The squares in the middle. Yeah. So it's 68 by 79 is what it'll be. So I am using that collection I told you about. So let me just show you some of the strip sets I have made up so you can see the fabrics. So you make up all these strip sets and then you cut them down into the size you need to make the sides of the shoe fly. And then you'll make half square triangles for the corners. So I just love these fabrics. Oh, this green. I love aqua blues and lime greens and pink. I love those together. I love pink in this, but we're not putting pink. So my whole background is going to be this Riley Blake Aqua Swiss dot on white, which that doesn't seem to be showing up, but it's white background with an aqua dot on it. Let's see, really close. It's not really showing up aqua, I don't think, but there we go. Matches my nails. So this is my background. And then for those cornerstones, these right here, I'm going to use this, which is from the same collection. And I think it called for a fat 1/8 bundle and then just some yardage. And then this I'm going to use for the binding, this plaid. Yeah, so I've got those strip sets sewn together. I was waiting to get more of the background, and now that came and I got it started. So now one day I can just sit and cut it all out. So that's another whip. I told you this was going to be a long time. You might want to pause it and go get some coffee. Okay, so this next one is Patriotic, and it is a quilt as you go quilt. So I got the pattern from this book by Jara Brandvig, Quilt as You Go. She has a bunch of Quilt as You Go. Well, she has 2 or 3 already, and she's coming out with a 3rd one now. I just saw it the other day. And if you don't know what Quilt as You Go is, it is where you actually quilt the whole quilt block on a square of batting. So you can quilt the small little quilt block however you want, and then you sew all those together, and she shows you how to sew it and press it, and then just add the backing, and then you just have to do a big grid sewing between all the quilt blocks to attach the backing to it. So it's just easier if you're working on your home machine and you don't have, you know, a lot of throat space or something here. It's easier to fit it on your machine. It's easier to, you know, machine quilt if you're just doing one quilt block. So I don't think it's for everybody, and I don't do it all the time, but I decided I was going to do it for a king size quilt because I can't machine quilt a king size quilt on here, and sending them to the quilter is very expensive. So I thought, well, let me try it and see how it goes. I think this is still going to be rough to get under my machine just to even do the grid, but we'll see when I get to that point. So the pattern is this one. It's like these just 2.5 inch strips. You sew at a diagonal. So there is kind of what it looks like. And like I said, this kind of has all modern quilts in it. Quilt as You Go made modern. So I'll just show you some of them. Here's one. And these are all Quilt as You Go quilts. But this is really easy and it is really fun. And she actually does have on the Fat Quarter Shop channel, you probably already know, but she has a video on how to do this, which is a great video. But then she also has Quilt as You Go made vintage. So these are more vintagey kind of quilts. Let me just show you a couple. And blocks. She has a lot of blocks in here that you can mix and match and put together. Trying to find a whole picture of the... Well, here's the back of like all the quilts. So real vintagey fabrics. And then I know she has another one coming out. I can't remember the name of it, but it was cute. So yeah. So I decided to use, I had a bunch of jelly rolls, Patriotic ones, and then I did have to get some yardage because I was running out. It was a Minnick and Simpson jelly roll, Mackinac Island, and then a jelly roll from Primitive Gatherings. I think it was Stars and Stripes Gatherings. It was whatever last year's one was, or the year before that. And then I just threw in some other fabrics. I think I even had another, I think it was Sweet Tea by, I can't remember the name of the company. But anyway, a bunch of Patriotic jelly rolls, and then I threw in some yardage as needed. So this is what the blocks will look like when they're finished. And it's fun. So you sew them. Let me show you one that's, well, here. So I have them at different stages. So this one, I sewed the middle strip on, and then you put one on either side. So you just, lay it over top, sew your seam, leave a little on each end, flip it over, press, and then you lay the next 2.5 inch strip on. And you could do it with 1.5 inch strips and make it smaller, but they're just really fun. So there's one with 3 of the strips. You see there's one that's finished. And let me see if I have one that has, so there's just a bunch of them here at different different levels. This one has 5 of the strips on. So I just have to do the 2 more on this side and 2 more on that side. Let me see if I have one that's almost done. Yeah, right here. Okay, so this one, yeah, this one has all the strips sewn on, but I didn't trim it down yet. So once you have it to this stage where you've sewn them all on, you can see here's the corner. You'll take it and lay it on a rotating cutting mat. You really need a rotating cutting mat for this. I mean, you could turn them obviously, but it's so much easier. So I got the big 17-inch one and I lay it on top of there, and she shows this in your video. And you just line up your ruler with the edge of the batting and you just cut it off, rotate, cut it off. It's actually really kind of fun to do. So I added in this little aqua from my stash. So there's some fig tree aquas in that because I have that in my room. I kind of like that with Patriotic. So I have the navies, the medium blues, and the aquas. So now I got this out, I think I want to work on it again and try to get it done for this summer. I really, really like it. It's super fun to do. Let me see if I can show you just a few different ones. Like here's the whole pile of them. I have 60 some just about done. I think I need 81s because I think it has to be 9 by 9. But I have to check my measurements again because I can't remember what size these blocks are. But it's going to end up being about 108 by 108. But so these are all done. Here's just a few of them. I love these colors. They're so pretty. So this is, as she says in her video, she says it's kind of like improvisational quilting. And it is. It's just really freeing and fun. So I just had a whole bucket. I threw a whole basket, all my 2.5-inch strips in there. And I just kept pulling, sewing, cutting, trimming. I threw them back in. And it was just really fun. Making a littler quilt would be even better. I mean, it got to be a bit overwhelming because I had so many strips, but it's fun. So anyway, that is my strippy Patriotic quilt. So let me move these. And I have one more whip to show you. Yes, one more whip. And then I'll talk about plans, and then we'll be done. So it's going to be over an hour. Okay, so this quilt I have been making for years. And I've been doing what Lori Holt talks about, but I did it before that even. It's just how it worked out well for me. They talk about the leaders and enders, so where you sew like a little piece of fabric first through and then sew your piecing through to keep it from getting all balled up. Sometimes when you have little piecing and you put it through your machine, especially if it's a vintage machine or older machine, the thread kind of gets all balled up. So Lori Holt started talking about making like what did she call her bonus quilts, and so she has, I think she uses those little vintage cupcake trays, and she has little pieces in there to work on bonus quilts. So I did that with this one, and this is from a lady who used to have a blog. I'm not even sure she still has a blog. She also did craftsy videos, and she wrote books, and then she just kind of retired from it all. So her name was Amanda Jean Nyberg. She might still have her blog. But she wrote this book, No Scrap Left Behind. She does a lot of scrappy quilts. Here's the back. I think she also did Sunday morning quilts. And she's done some books with other quilters as well. So this one was just a quilt on her blog, and I just saw a picture of it and loved it. And it's simple. It's not like you need a pattern, really. It's called Lost in a Crowd Quilt. So if you Google Lost in a Crowd Quilt, hers will come up. And it is just 2.5-inch squares and little 4 patches. So these are the 2 units. And I bought a ton of this. This was like the Kona color of the year, last year, the year before. I think it was called Splash. And so it's just a solid aqua-y teal. So I bought a boatload of this, and I cut it into 2.5-inch strips. And then I just took all my scraps and cut them up into, I think these are 1.5-inch squares. So I have whites, and I'm doing mostly pinks, oranges, and like limey greens. And then I mixed in some reds and some blues and some purples too. But it's more of the pink and the yellow and the orange and the limey green. But anyway, so I keep these in my sewing drawer right here. Well, let me show you what the block looks like finished. And I'm also making this in my king size bed, so it'll be forever. But when I get enough of these 4 patches, so I sew these 4 patches like in between all my other projects as I'm starting and ending. And then when I get enough, I sew them together into a block. I think this block is about 12 inches. So like here are some purple fabrics from that purple and green log cabin quilt. So I kind of just use my scraps. So yeah, so that's what it'll look like. But here, I don't know if you can see, let me see if I can move the camera a little bit. Just so you can kind of see. I have a drawer here, sorry. And I have them all in, I'm just gonna go like this. Them all in little bins. And then here's all the squares back here. So, and like here's some I've sewn already. So let me hold that still. Okay, slowly, sorry. So what I do is just when I'm sewing another quilt, I just pull these out and just sew them through. And then when I get a bunch like this, I press them and I just sew them into a little 4-patch then. Yeah, and then once I have enough, I throw my 4 patches back here in the drawer, and once I have enough 4 patches, then I sew them into a block. So yeah, it's fun, and I'm not getting tired of this quilt. I really, really love it. I love all the colors in it. So I have one laid out right here to do. I have them all laid out, and I'm going to sew together another block. So yeah, and this desk is just an old desk. I actually got it free at a school I used to work at. They were going to throw it away. It was an old teacher's desk, but it is solid wood. It is an amazing desk. I love it. Let me move this back a little bit more. Oh yes, you can see one there. I have it on my Lori Holt book stand back there. Yeah, I'm addicted to Lori Holt, as the rest of us are. Okay, so now my plans. So that's all my whips. Now my plans. So, just a little bit more. There we go. So Jeanette at Crafty Cottage Stitches was saying she was going to make a strawberry swoon. And I have had this swoon pattern forever and never made it. So I was like, ooh, I'll do that too. I really would like to make it out of strawberries and rhubarb that's coming out. So I'm kind of stalling. I had ordered some strawberry fabrics from Fig Tree's other lines. I can't remember the name of the line that had strawberry in it. There was another, Chantilly maybe? So here is one of the strawberry prints. And these are, so I got it in this coral. And then I got it in the green and the yellow. I couldn't find enough of the white one. There is a white one. Do I have it here? No. But I couldn't find enough of it to do the whole quilt out of that. So I thought, well, I'll just do it with the red, yellow, or the green, yellow, and coral. But then I was going to do the white too, but then with a white background, the white really wouldn't show up. So I thought, well, I'll just do the coral, green, and yellow. But then I'm like, what kind of background should I make? So I chose this Fig Tree. It was a Christmas print for the background. But I don't know, you know how you're just not sure? Like, it's just not totally thrilling me. I mean, I love the fabrics, but I'm just not sure yet. So I'm kind of holding off on that. I actually did get some starch. I was going to cut up one block, and I still might do one block and just kind of experiment and see what I think. But I'm not totally sure about that one. So this one's kind of on hold, but there you go, Jeanette, if you're watching. There's all my fabric so far for it. What do you think? I was thinking, you know, you take 16 fat quarters, so I was going to cut these down in the fat quarters, but just using like 4 green, 4 coral, 4 yellow, and then maybe throw in a little bit of red, because the red goes, you know, with the red and the strawberry, especially the coral one. Those strawberries are real red. So I don't know for sure. She was going to send me a pic when she did hers. I don't know if she cut it out yet or not, but if you did, send me a picture because I need help. So yeah, so that's a plan eventually for the future. Probably end up being next summer, especially by the time we get it done, because now they also came out with another quilt along. So let me get my book so I say the names right. So Jeanette at Crafty Cottage Stitches, and she is Carly Court Cottage on Instagram. So Jeanette and Heather. Heather's the daughter. Jeanette's the mom on Crafty Cottage Stitches. They have a floss tube, and then their Instagram names, which I've talked about them a million times before, but it's Carly Court Cottage is Jeanette's Instagram name, and White House Stitchery is Heather's Instagram name. But she is doing a quilt along with Nancy Woolsey, which has she has a floss tube and quilting channel, and she is So Cozy Stitching on Instagram. So I've been following her on Instagram for a while, but I didn't even know about her floss tube till Jeanette said something about it. So they're doing a stitch along or a quilt along with the Thimble Blossomville patterns. So there's Springville, Summerville, Winterville, and Autumnville. So I have the whole kit for the Winterville, but I don't feel like making winter right now. And I had the Springville and the Summerville patterns. I didn't have the Autumnville yet, but of course that's the one I decided I wanted to do, because if I sew Halloween right now, I can maybe get it done for Halloween. And I have a ridiculous amount of Halloween quilts, but it's just the way it is. So I think I'm going to do Autumnville. Now the pattern is just autumny colors. We all know I'm going to switch to Halloweeny colors. So I got the PDF of the pattern, and I had a fat quarter bundle of, it's kind of old, so I had to write the name down. Spooky Delight by Bunny Hill Designs, which I think will be perfect. So I'm going to do it in this. Spooky Delight by Bunny Hill Designs. So greens, purples, oranges, grays, blacks, and creams. So the pattern calls for 3 red, 3 fat quarters, 3 red, 3 orange, 4 green, 4 gray, and 3 aqua. So instead of the aqua, I'm putting in the purple, and then I'll do the green. And I'm not going to do red, but I'm just going to do more orange. And then the black and gray I'm going to kind of use interchangeably as well, because her gray, her gray is like the roofs of the houses and in different parts of the houses. Well, I think I'm going to do all the roofs in black, and maybe I'll mix it black and gray, the darker grays. And then I'll put some of the grays on the outsides of the houses. But then this red that's in the middle, I think I'm going to do these in orange and white. And then this is blue and green half square triangles around here. So I'm going to do that in purple and green. So this will be orange, purple, and green. And then the leaves are going to be orange and green. And I'm not sure. I thought maybe purple leaves, but we'll see what it looks like. And the houses will just be a mixture of everything. So I think that'll work out good. So I need to starch all this. I starched that in my red fabrics today. And they're going to start this on Mother's Day. So I will get it all starched and ironed up, and I'll be ready to go on Mother's Day. So if you haven't checked out, I'm sure you have, but Jeanette and Heather at Crafty Cottage Stitches here on FlossTube, or Nancy Woolsey on FlossTube. That's what she goes by, Nancy Woolsey. And I'll put it below. Check them out and see theirs. They're doing summer versions, I believe. Heather was saying she was going to do it in like a 1930s reproduction prints in blues and reds and whites, which I thought would be really pretty for the summer one. So yeah, so that's a plan. And then my last plan, because I don't have enough to do, is on the Fat Quarter Shop. Kimberly gets me in so many problems. I just start too many quilts. But Coriander Quilts is doing a free block of the month of all these flowers. So let me see if I have the front page. I should have printed out. So if you go on to corianderquilts.com, it shows you the whole quilt finished. And it's going to be the Springbrook Blossoms quilt. And she's doing it with her Springbrook line, which is what I did this bag out of, so you can see it. And it's really pretty, but I don't know, these just colors aren't, even though it's blue and white, I don't know why. This isn't my absolute favorite collection of hers. I loved her Canning Day, and I thought about doing this quilt in that, but I decided I want to do it in Lori Holt's. So I kind of feel bad I'm not using Cori Yoder's fabrics, but I do have tons of her fabrics I use for other stuff. So I am going to do this in Lori Holt's Grandmother's Flower Garden fabric. Is that what it's called? I'm not even sure, but I found a fat bundle of it on Etsy. Oh, look how pretty. Ah, gorgeous. So I'm going to do it with that. So I got the Fat Quarter bundle, which is what you make the flower tops out of. And then for the green, the stems are all the same green. So I got, here's how it came on my yardage. I got this green, which is a Lori Hill green. And then for the border, there's a solid border all around the flowers, and then they're kind of sitting in a field of white. I'm going to do this border. So pretty. This one was prettier even in person than online. And then for the background, I've always loved this. I'm going to do this one, or the backing. So I got that. So I have everything ready to go for that one. So I have to also search all these. But yeah, so I'm going to do that for the Springbrook Blossoms quilt. So yeah, look that one up. They're really cute. Even just, they'd be cute just to make, you know, 1 or 2 of them or 3, maybe in a long pillow or something. Or you could just have one for a wall hanging. Let me see what size the actual block is when it's done. I think it's fairly long. Yeah, it'll measure 10.5 by 20.5, so that'd be a cute little wall hanging. Like I said, the patterns are free on her site. So corianderquilts.com. But if you just Google coriander quilts, it will come up. So those are all my plans. And I have a teensy weensy bit of haul, and then we're done. I have my Sew Sampler box, the last one that came. Well, I think this is, I mean, it's the last one I got. But I think it's the first one in the next series. You know, she always, for a year, you get quilt patterns that you can make into a quilt. And after a year, you've got them all and you make the quilt. So I think we're starting a new year here. So before I get to that I just have 2 little things. This was a pattern I had never seen before, and I got it from some Etsy seller. It's a buttermilk basin pattern, basin spools quilt, and it uses cottons and it uses wool felt. But isn't that adorable? Look, they're little spools. So cute. I really like that. So it's called Basin Spools Quilt, and it's 24 by 49. So if you're interested, I got it off of Etsy. There's the name. My husband and my son, so my birthday, you know, was Thursday, and my son called last night. We kind of all celebrated with everybody, and he was like, well, I wanted to get you something to do better floss tube videos. And he goes, would you like a camera, to have an above camera so you didn't have to hold stuff up and you could just show it laying down, like so you're more professional? And I don't know, like, do we like people just holding stuff up? What do you think? Should I have a camera that shows stuff from above? I mean, I know Fat Quarter Shop does and Lori Holt does, but I mean, I am not those people. So I was laughing. I'm like, I don't know that I need to be that professional, but tell me what you think. Should I have an above camera, or do you want to see me showing it? I thought it was funny. They think it's hysterical that I even have the amount of followers that I do. They think it's really funny, or subscribers. Anyhow, and then I also got, for my quilt shop, I got a charm pack of the Primitive Gatherings. I would like this Fat Quarter bundle, but I just haven't bit the bullet yet. So I just kind of wanted to see all the fabrics. And then if I don't get it, I can always make something out of this. At least I have this little bit. And then my Sew Sampler box. So this one, the theme was Town Square. So that's how it came. And they always give you this little thing that shows you all the things that come in it and explains them. And on the back here, there's always a coupon. This one actually, oh, there's not a coupon on the back there. There's a whole coupon book in this one. Ooh, that's exciting. Oh yeah, so you get 4 coupons in here, and they are good ones. And they always make them good for a while. Like, these do not expire until, let's see, oh, June 30th. So you have a long time to spend them, so that's nice. Okay, so Sunday Stroll, a little pack, a little Fat Quarter pack of Sunday Stroll. Thimble Blossom's new fabric came in there. So that's really pretty. You'll have to make a little table runner or something. That's a really pretty floral. Look at that. And then they usually give you a pattern. So yeah, here's the pattern. So this is the pattern to use with this bundle. It's Starflower, and there's bonus size options in there. So usually they give you like enough to make the blocks with this, but then if you want to make it bigger, you need more, and you need to get the background and like the binding. But it's really nice. I mean, you pay $20, I think my total with tax is $31 for this box. So it's definitely a good deal. And you got these cute little 3-inch square and a square foundation papers, which you can use to make, I bet, yeah, the center of the flowers. So this would also go to make this quilt. So all of this, you would use for that. And then we even got a cute little label set. So quilt labels. And then this bag came in it. So this cute little zip top bag. And then there's the start of the new patterns. So pull it out. So this is the Bright Side Quilt Along designed by Sherry McConnell. So you get the first block for that, and I'll just show real quick. That'll be the first block. So every month now there'll be a different block for this quilt. I have not ever made any of these, but they're good to have. I have them all saved here. So yeah, so that is all I have for my quilty update. Yeah, this was a long one. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some inspiration. Pray for me that I can finish all this stuff. I do have summer coming. But yeah, I am excited about it all. So whatever I get done, I get done. So I hope everybody has a great week this coming week. This will probably be uploaded tomorrow, Monday, May 3rd. Maybe tonight, we'll see. But have a great week, and I will see you probably in a couple weeks for another floss tube video. Bye. Happy stitching and sewing.